Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that distraction. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. You're welcome today again. Today we have another beautiful conversation. We're going to be having a beautiful conversation today. So you don't want to miss the conversation of today. I want to welcome you all and to our business conversation. And we're having the businesswoman of the week is a dynamic woman, Tola. Onigbanjo. She is a dynamic woman, a networker. I don't want to say a lot because I know that you're going to be blessed having her today. So I welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going straight to our conversation. So if you're there, just indicate that you're there. You invite your friends, send the link, forward the link. And so let's start the conversation today. Let's start the conversation. A few reasons why we started up this conversation. We have many young people that want to do businesses, and most of the time they really have difficulty starting a business. And so I thought it was a good idea to come up with this business conversation so we can give the young people chance and space and the opportunity to learn from the people that have really put their hands into the mud and they're doing lots of great and amazing things. So you're welcome. Hello, Miss Min. I can see you. You're welcome. You can forward the links to friends and family so they can join us. And we're happy. We're welcoming all those also watching from the YouTube. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is another beautiful conversation. And I want to assure you today you're going to have the best of the conversation. Remember, I always say your network is your net worth. So let's go. For those who have not yet registered for the business masters class, I want to really, really encourage you. This year is gonna be a different one altogether because we are having Africans, coaches, mentors from different African countries. We have them from the 6 African countries. So you don't want to miss the knowledge from our people with so much knowledge to build the continent. So if you've not registered for the master's class, the business master's class already, so just go on the Sompon or academy dot sompon-socialservice.org because it is going to be an amazing one this year. And I want to tell you a short story why the Sompon Business Masters class came up. 2015 when the people came from Africa, all over Africa, and especially the young people. They wanted to, they were looking for greener pastures here in Europe and especially in Germany. And we have more than 3,000 young, dynamic Africans who died in the Mediterranean Sea. And I thought to myself, apart from the fact that we support migrants in Germany and we counsel them, we give them the support that they need to be able to integrate themselves in the community. We offer them coaching, offer them migration counseling, we offer the language course, we offer parents education. I thought the one way I could do to really help the young Africans in the African continent was to start up a business masters class. And with the business masters class, our intention is to give the tools, the tips, the secrets, the instruments that a young person needs to be able to start up their own businesses, or again say start up being self-employed, and then from self-employed they can become business owners, and who knows, with our support and our mentorship, they can also become entrepreneurs. And remember our agenda: who else should build the African continent if not you and me? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you all wherever you're watching. Invite your friends, invite your family members, that we should have the nice conversation today, the conversation on business and networking. And I assure you, your network is your net worth. You will have to get your chair and your water, your tea, whatever, so that we can have this conversation today. Welcome with me, our businesswoman of the week, Tola Onig Onigbanjo. Tola, ma'am, you're welcome. How are you
I'm
today?
fine, thank you.
It's such a privilege to have you here. When I read what you've done and I see what you've done, I'm so excited and I'm very, very grateful. We had a very beautiful conversation before now. And I was writing all along when you were talking. I was just writing and writing, and I took note of a lot of things, and I'm very sure that the people are also waiting to know more about networking and especially about how to get the heart of an investor, and then of course the sponsor. And you said the investor have a different intention and the sponsor have a different intention. Ma'am, this is your platform. Tell us more about business networking and how to win the heart of an investor or again a sponsor. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Tola Onigbanjo. A lot of my friends call me Wise Tola. And a little bit about myself. Alongside with my husband, are the founders of Women for Africa. Now, Women for Africa is a platform that we created to celebrate African women. It's a platform that we created to celebrate and elevate African women, ordinary African women who are doing extraordinary things. We created the platform. It has become the largest gathering of African women in Europe. We did our first event in 2012, and we've been doing it every year to date. I'm also the founder of the Solid Woman. The Solid Woman, I believe every woman is a solid woman, and I believe every woman has something that can impact another woman, and that's why we're solid women. And I'm also the founder of the Listeners 101. The Listeners 101 is a helpline for young people that I feel, sometimes just want to talk to somebody that won't judge them, somebody that won't, scold them or anything, that doesn't know them, but they can just let off and express themselves how they feel. So the Listeners 101 is a service where we just listen. Young people can talk to us about anything, and all we do is we just listen to them, and they can sound off about whatever it is that they want to do. And those are the things that I do. Those are my businesses. But here today, I'm here to talk about networking and also how to pitch and win the heart of a sponsor/investor. Now, I mean, Vera said it a couple of times. Your network is your net worth. And I'm happy to be in this network with Vera, now that I've met her, and I'm happy to have networked with her. Now, one thing I will say is you cannot underestimate the power of networking. Don't take networking for granted. Don't take it lightly. Sometimes you might feel like, oh, I don't really want to go out today. I can't be bothered to attend that event. And, but sometimes that event can be a life-changing event for you. The person that you meet at that event can change your life, can change your business. And that's why networking is so important, so key. I also say, I don't just attend every event, because if we look at the amount of events that go on, there's events probably every single day of the week. So you have to pick the events that you're going to network at. Sometimes find out a bit about the event beforehand, before you attend. What is this event about? Who's going to be there? Because you'll have an indication of the type of people that are going to be attending that event. So you'll know whether these are the people that I want to network at. If a friend says to me, oh, come, let's go to a bikers event. I mean, for me, I'm not really into bikes. It's going to probably be full of a lot of men and talking about bikes and oils and everything like that. So that's really of no interest to me. But then it'll be of interest to somebody that's in that field or in that industry. So I always say, choose the events that you're going to go to, because you'll meet key people that you can network with. When I go to any event, I make sure I network the room. So I just approach people. Hi, my name is Tola Onigbanjo. What's your name? And what do you do? By the time they've told me about what they do, they're going to naturally ask what I do as well. Then I can pitch myself. I can tell them about what I do. Now, I could be pitching to an MD of a company. I can be pitching to, somebody that's in sales of their company. I can be pitching to somebody that's in charge of a budget that they need to spend in the next year on a particular type of event, and my event might suit them. I will not find that out if I don't network, and I won't find out if I don't ask questions and meet people. I don't go to an event expecting people to come to me to find out who I'm at. I go to the event expecting to go to people to find out who they are. So if people come to me, that's good. But even if they don't, I know that I'm going to penetrate the room and I'm going to meet people and I'm going to network. I can categorically say that our biggest sponsor of Women for Africa every year, without fail, is somebody that we met networking at an event. We networked that event. They bought into what we do. And every year they are our biggest sponsor to date when it comes to Women for Africa's annual awards. Now, that would not have happened if I chose to stay at home. My husband chose to stay at home and we didn't meet this person. You know, so networking is very important. Networking is where you'll meet people. You know, we go out and we meet people shopping. We go out and we meet people when we go to the stores and things like that. But when you go to a specific event, you know the type of people that are going to be at that event. So you know it's worth you networking that route, because a lot of people will attend an event and you won't know who they are, and they'll just sit there quietly attending the event, just observing until you approach that person. That's when you'll now know who that person is. And you don't want to underestimate the power of approaching somebody and knowing that this person is the key that you've been looking for. So I will say network, 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 network. Now, when you network and you meet somebody and they're interested in what you do, they can say to you, send me an email, and they're expecting your email because, number one, they've taken note of your name. They've probably taken your card, or you've taken their card. So now you have access to their email. Because I always say, when it comes to an investor or a sponsor, they have tons of proposals that drop on their desk in their emails all the time. Now, why is your name going to stand out from the next name, the next name, and the next name? But when they've met you and they remember your name because you've made yourself impressionable to them, of course they can just pick your name out and say, right, this is the one that I told to send me an email. So you have the upper hand over the hundreds of emails that have gone through their box that they have not met. That's what the power of networking can do. Because now they've put in a face to who is sending them the proposal. They have a face, they know they've met that person in person, as opposed to somebody that's just behind an email that they've never seen, never heard before. And networking sometimes is where you might have the one-time opportunity to be able to pitch to that sponsor or investor. And that takes me on to the next part of the talk, which is how to win the heart of an investor or a sponsor. Now, I did say before, investors and sponsors are two different people. I like to say investors are people that have money to spend. Now, they want to put their money, in something that's very important to them, but where they can grow their money. Sponsors don't necessarily look to grow their money that they've given you as such, in such a way. They might want the exposure of what they do. They might have a product that you have the audience, that product is targeted. So then they can sponsor you so that you can now promote them as a sponsor. And then people are now seeing that product. So they're getting their money back in a whole different way. And sponsors are varied because they can come with different amounts. Investors, usually when investors are looking to invest, they're looking to invest huge sums, huge amounts of money. Now, to win the heart of a sponsor or an investor, you have to know the problem that you are trying to solve is very important. The problem that you are trying to solve, you have to know it so well, because remember, investors are looking to grow their money in a field and in an area that they understand. Now, if you don't understand what you're talking about, how's the investor going to understand it? What's going to make them drop the money if they don't even understand what they're dropping the money about for? So you have to make sure the problem that you are solving, you understand it totally, so that when you're pitching it to them, they understand it there and then, just like you do. Now, I'm going to just share a couple of tips about how to win the heart of a sponsor/investor, because you can use the same tips for either. Now, number one, you have to captivate them. Your pitch has to be captivating. And I always say, your energy from the start of the pitch to the end of the pitch has to be high energy. You can't start high and then towards the end you start to, it's as though you've lost interest, or it's as though, you're starting to, no, you have to have the same energy. If you're passionate about something, you'll talk about it with that same energy from start to finish. The excitement, the excitement of seeing, let's say, seeing your son, score a goal. He's playing for his football team and he scores a goal. Now, when you're telling that story to your friend, the excitement that you're going to use from the start of that story to the end of that story is going to be the same because you're so excited. That's how your energy has to be when you're pitching. When you're pitching, and you have to captivate them from the beginning. You have to be captivating from the beginning. If you don't captivate them from the beginning, they lose interest. They might not even take note of the rest of your pitch. But the moment you capture them, they are listening attentively from start to finish because you've immediately got them in on that conversation. They're already interested in what it is that you're saying. So you captivate them with what it is that you're saying. And some of the ways that you captivate them is by just stating some key facts, some key figures as well. Stats, whatever it is that you're going to use, just grab their attention. Once you've grabbed their attention, you have the floor. The floor is there for you to pitch. You have to be emotive as well. You must be emotional and passionate through it. Whatever you're saying your emotion has to come across. You have to be passionate about what you're talking about, because there's a difference when you talk about something with passion and when you talk about something that you've just read in a book and you're just repeating what you've read in a book. But when you're talking about something with passion, it comes across entirely different. They see it and they recognize it. And that's how you win people. Now, if somebody comes to my front door and says to me, oh, I've got this Hoover that I want to sell to you, it's going to suck up all your dirt and it's going to make your carpet clean and you're going to be very pleased with the result and everything, they're selling to me, but there's no passion there. But it's going to be different if you come across and say, oh, how many children do you have? I say, oh, I've got 5 children, I've got 3 grandchildren. And then they turn around and say, I can imagine sometimes the state of your house, the state of your carpet once the grandkids have gotten all over that, and I'm picturing already my grandchildren making mess. And I'm sitting there thinking, right, when they've gone, I'm going to have to now hoover this mess. I can't wait to get this place back clean already. So they've already got me thinking through what they've, through what they're saying. And she says, you know what? I have the perfect product for you. Once the grandkids have left and you start hoovering, it's just going to suck up everything as though they were not there. Now they've caught my attention. Whoever's selling that has caught my attention because I'm already thinking about hoovering and getting the place back to normal once my grandchildren have gone. So that one, I'm identifying with the seller because it's as though they're telling my story. It's as though they're appealing to what I go through. So I'm already bought. I'm listening to that conversation. I'm listening. I'm just waiting for the person to now tell me what is the price of this Hoover and how soon can I get it. So passion, emotion, it appeals to us. It appeals to a sponsor. It appeals to an investor, especially when they're listening to it from you. Now, another thing is you have to be engaging. So when you're talking, you want to be looking at whoever it is that you're pitching to, because sometimes they'll be nodding their head, then they're in agreement, or you've said something and you've caught their attention. Sometimes when I say to people, me and my husband were the founders of Women for Africa, and we say Women for Africa was dubbed the largest gathering of African women in Europe. Immediately, a sponsor and investor is interested. The largest gathering in Europe of African women, they're not nodding, but we can see the expression. It's kind of like made them sit up. Those figures, wow. So we've kind of like engaged them and we've captivated them as well. Now, if you're using figures to appeal to a sponsor, your figures have to stack up. Your figures have to stack up and they have to make sense. So make sure that your figures, they stack up, because that's what's going to appeal, most especially to an investor. You're telling an investor, if they invest this amount of money in this, they're going to turn over, or your company is going to turn over, and this is going to be profit, and those figures have to stack up, and they have to be realistic. They have to be realistic that the investor is picturing what it is you're saying, and they can see it turning over exactly what it is that you're saying. It will appeal to them. Now, one thing that your pitch should do as well, it should
So we are
identify
having
a
some
problem.
connection.
Pardon? It should identify a problem and it should solve the problem. And then when you've pitched, you want to make sure that you close your pitch with scarcity. When I say scarcity, it's as though, you've come to a person, like if you come to me and you're pitching Women for Africa and you say, oh, we'd like Women for Africa to sponsor so and so, this, and then you say to me, the reason why we came to you first is because you have this and we've identified this and you can do this, so we would like to give you first refusal. So that's telling me that you're going to go to other people after me, but you're giving me first refusal. But I'm now thinking to myself, if this is an opportunity for me, before the other people now start to get their claws in, I really want this, so I better take this offer, and the scarcity is that, it could be, we've identified that apart from you, there are 3 other organizations that celebrate and elevate African women across the continent. That's the scarcity. So that means there's only 4 of us. And that pitch is just for one organization to take. Immediately you've created scarcity and you've come to me as though I'm the first. So if I don't want one of the others to jump on it, I'm going to have to give you an answer very quickly, because if I'm in that field, I will know that there's 3 other organizations apart from myself as well that do that. So I will know that you've done your homework. I will know that you've done your research, and I will know that the fact that you've done that means you're going to approach them with the same offer. Now, if this offer is too good to be true, I don't need to sleep on it. I don't need to wait. I need to act quickly. So I will have that conversation with you and we'll do the back and forth and we will close on that. So those are the tips that I wanted to share in terms of pitching. And you can pitch all of that in 3 minutes. Just have your figures, have your information, and anything that helps whatever it is that you're doing, anything that can boost whatever it is that you're doing, any information that is key, put it in the pitch and keep your energy the same from start to finish. Keep your energy the same so that they know that, wow, this sounds too good to be true. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so very much, man. I was just nodding my head the whole time. And I'm like, yes, now I get it and I get it. We welcome the viewers. We have Maxwell, and Maxwell is saying that networking is the best exposure. I always have a tendency of exchange cards with people at every event I'm invited. It's one way of unlocking the opportunities. Thanks for the reminder, following from the conversation from Zambia. What do you think? Is just exchanging cards enough?
Well, I think in this day and age, if you notice, a lot of people don't use cards anymore. A lot of times, a lot of people don't use cards. And then you'll find with a lot of key people, when you network an event and there's some key people, let's say you've got the MD of Sky or the CEO of Google, they will
Mm-hmm.
never say they have a business card because they're not going to give their business card out to be
Mm-hmm.
bombarded with
Mm-hmm.
emails and calls from people that they've met at an event. Because a lot of people go
Mm-hmm.
around collecting cards. A lot of people go around taking cards, and what we've seen in the past is that when people collect cards, they now just add you to a database and bombard you with emails. So a lot of people have stopped giving
Mm-hmm.
out cards. What you want to do is you want to make sure that in your networking, you have a memorable conversation that that person is taking your details or they're giving you your details. And what they'll give you is their phone number and their email. So now you now have direct contact to that person because they'll say, you know what, take my number, or they'll say, you know what, send me an email first thing on Monday. So you've got their direct email or you've got their direct number.
I
But
just have
that
to get
comes when
in.
you have that memorable conversation that they want to hear from you. They want you to contact them or they will take your number. But ideally, you want to make sure you get their number.
So I want, what is a memorable conversation? You just caught my attention with that. What do you mean memorable conversation?
Now, if somebody approaches me and says, "Oh, hi, my name is so and so, and I run an event for women that," and then there's something that they do that is exclusive or unique or is different from what a lot of people are doing, and it's caught my attention, immediately I'm going to be like, yeah, let's talk. Let me
Mm-hmm.
take your details, and then I exchange my details because I want to have that conversation. Now,
Mm-hmm.
a memorable conversation is not going to be one where you're doing the same thing that everyone else is doing,
Mm-hmm.
because then everyone's doing it. Why do I want to take your details? I know 10 other people that are doing that. But when you're doing something that is different from what everyone is doing, and you've sold it differently, you've caught my attention. I now need to have your details.
This is amazing. And you gave some five tips. You said for someone to captivate the investor or slash the sponsor, the conversation should be captivating from start to the end, and it should be packed full of emotions so that the person can see, feel that the emotions in it. And then you mentioned to state some facts and all that. Then it takes me to this question: how do you actually understand the mind of an investor? Are there some steps to really get to understand the mind of an investor or again slash a sponsor? Apart from the fact that I captivate them with my speech and all that, how do I get to understand the mindset of an investor or again a sponsor?
Well, one of the ways that you can understand is a sponsor or an investor. Most likely, the reason why I say they're both different is because an investor is going to invest money.
Mm-hmm.
Sponsors, sometimes they invest money, sometimes they might invest their products or their goods
Mm-hmm.
instead.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going to understand the mind of an investor, number one, they invest money. Now, look at yourself and your money.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to spend your money? You're not going to spend your money, number one, on rubbish,
Mm-hmm.
because your money, number one, you've worked hard for it. And
Mm-hmm.
number two, you want a return on your investment on your money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody comes to you and says, Vera, can you give me £10? When I give it back to you next week, I'm going to give you back your £10 and another £10 on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be appealing to you. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to want to know, how are they going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why would you give me a whole 100% on what I've given you on top of what I've
Mm-hmm.
given you, just because I need to know how you're going to do that.
Yes.
Now, how you're going to do it is what I'm going to be interested in,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to
How?
now give me an indication that you can do it. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when we were doing Women for Africa, and we had a meeting with Aricare at the time, because
Mm-hmm.
Aricare fly from Nigeria to UK, UK to Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a meeting with them at their offices, and we knew that they weren't going to give us money, but they were going to give us tickets if we
Mm-hmm.
were successful.
Yes.
Now, it's a company that they want people flying their airline. They want Nigerians flying their airline. They want Nigerians buying tickets. Now, number one, if
Mm-hmm.
you can't afford to buy a ticket from them, you're
Mm-hmm.
not their audience.
Yes.
And they need to know, if they're going to invest, are the people at your event going to be people that can afford to buy tickets for their airline?
That's true.
So when we went to them, our pitch was, Women for Africa, we have up to 1,000 women each year, 1,000 attendees each year. So number
Mm-hmm.
one, that number was huge for them.
Yes.
Number two, we do the event in Kensington every year. That's what sold it,
Mm-hmm.
the numbers and where we did it. Because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of it, he turned around and he said to us, if we said that we were doing Women for Africa, 1,000 people attend, and we were doing it in, let's say, somewhere like Peckham, he said we
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have got it, because
Mm-hmm.
the area Peckham is different from the area Kensington.
Yes.
Kensington is kind of like seen as a posh, upper class area.
Mm-hmm.
Peckham is not seen as so posh. So that
Mm-hmm.
area did it for them because now they look at, okay, they're doing an event in this area. So they're
Mm-hmm.
attracting a type of people.
True.
Now, the people can come from Peckham, doesn't matter, but coming to
Mm-hmm.
that area because of the event, it now says the caliber of the event, what the event
Yes.
is going to be like, how the
Mm-hmm.
event is going to be like. They've started to picture because it's being
Yes.
held in. So anyone coming from wherever you're coming from, you
Mm-hmm.
know that the event is going to be a grand type of event. So
Ouch.
now he's looking at the people that will be attending are probably
Mm-hmm.
people that can afford to buy tickets to fly our airline.
Mm-hmm.
So they were interested. So you think about these people are going to invest their money, but they need to know about what it is that you're doing, where it is that you're doing, how it is that you're doing it. That's going to now
Mm-hmm.
show them that you're going to make this money back plus more on
Mm-hmm.
top because of the
Mm-hmm.
type of things that you're going to be doing or the type of people that are going to be attending your
Mm-hmm.
event.
Mm-hmm.
So the event sold them. So we were able to get the tickets from them, business class, economy. We got it from them.
Wow.
But they told us it was the area that did it for them as well. Now,
Amazing.
we would have been doing the same event, and if we said we were doing it in Peckham, they would not have been interested. And imagine it
Mm-hmm.
could have been the same event, a successful, but they were just not interested if we would have said that area.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So you have to understand your investor, understand the
Yes.
sponsor, and then you can be able to win them in a pitch. I have a next question still on this pitch technique. Have you heard
Okay.
about the elevator pitch technique?
Yes.
Can you throw
My
more?
husband teaches that.
Can you please help throw more light on that, the elevator pitch technique, and why did it come up at all?
Well, I think for well, my husband does he does a 60 second elevator pitch, and we
60
do it.
seconds.
Yes, 60
Oh,
seconds,
that is
and
even again very less because we have the 3 minutes. I mean, 60 seconds. Okay.
yes, he
Amazing.
does the 60 seconds, and we do it every year at our Solid Woman event. So what
Mm-hmm.
we do is randomly we pick women from the audience, attendees. They don't know they're going to get picked, but we know beforehand, and we pick them. They all have to come to the front
Oh,
and they
no.
have 60 seconds to pitch to the room. Then what we do is we have secret judges in the audience
Oh, no.
that score them, and then at the end of it, we total it and we announce the winner. They all get prizes because they all participated, but then we
Great.
announce the winner and we announce how and why she was the winner in just 60 seconds and what she
Mm-hmm.
pitched. Because I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people sometimes you might only get 60 seconds to sell yourself. If
That's it.
Michelle Obama comes up to you at an event and says, "Hi, Vera, how are you? What do you do?" You've got 60 seconds to
That's
sell
true.
yourself to her. So are
That's
you going to
true.
sell yourself in 60 seconds by telling her, "I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I have
No.
this amount of children, this amount of..." Your 60 seconds is gone. Or are you
Yes.
going to use 60 seconds to wow her with whatever it is that you do so that she remembers, Vera, I need to speak to Vera because that sometimes is all you get. And you
Yes.
have to be able to elevate whatever it is that you're pitching in that time that you've been given,
Mm-hmm.
because you might not get that opportunity again.
Mm-hmm.
You may not get that opportunity again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We still have to stay on this pitching because I was working with I had a colleague, a collaborator, and he told me some time ago, but Vera, why is it that many Africans I have come across, they say a whole lot of stories, and then it is at the end of their project, they come up with a real deal. So you've read the entire story and you're already tired and you don't want to continue. And that's when you realize something is there. how can we help the young person listening to us? We have young people listening from Zambia, from Kenya, from South Africa, and they're interested to know, hey, what's that? How can we help a young person understand how to communicate and pitch up their project in this 1 minute or 60 seconds?
Well, that's why I said when you captivate from the beginning, you've now got the attention of the listener. So you have to make sure you go in captivating, because once you've got their attention, they now want to hear the rest. They want the rest of whatever it is that you have to say. But
Mm-hmm.
it's important to study your audience. And that's why I said you have to engage. Now, when you're engaging, they're either nodding because they're agreeing with you or they're taking. But if they're just not doing anything, you might
Mm-hmm.
need to change and go into a different direction
Mm-hmm.
because you haven't got them. And I was saying before,
Mm-hmm.
when we start Women for Africa, before we start the event, remember, there's a lot of people that have come, that are attending, that have bought tickets. They've
Mm-hmm.
heard from other people, oh, you have to be there. It's a great night and things like that. But I need them to know what the night is about. It's a great
Mm-hmm.
night. They're going to obviously be guaranteed to have a great time. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also a reason why that event is put on. So I
Mm-hmm.
always say to them, how many women here, how many of you in this room have heard of Michelle Obama? Put your hands up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
99% of the room, if not 100%, will put their hands up because they all know Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can now turn around and say, how many of you here know Vera Sopsom?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's only your friends that are with you that know you. So your 10
Mm-hmm.
friends that you might have bought a table with will put their hands up. Everyone else
Mm-hmm.
in the room doesn't know who you are
Mm-hmm.
unless I tell you to stand up or point you out. But then I
Mm-hmm.
say to them, by the end of this evening, everyone in
Mm-hmm.
this room will know who
Mm-hmm.
Vera is. And then we
Mm-hmm.
get a round of applause because that is
Mm-hmm.
what the event is about.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the night is about. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to know some dynamic, amazing women by the end of the night that they did not
Mm-hmm.
know before. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone in that room will know who that woman is. So now
Mm-hmm.
everyone is listening to see what woman is going up on that stage, what she's done, and who she is. Why? Because I've likened her to being just as important, dynamic, impactful, inspiring as Michelle Obama, because
Ouch!
that's
That
who
was
those
a good
women
one.
are that mount our platform. That's
This
how
is a good
important and
one.
that's who they are to us. So every woman in that room gets a round of applause from everyone in that room because
Mm-hmm.
she is just as important, just as impactful as who she's been likened to.
Oh,
And
this is
then,
an amazing story.
like I say, that is another place, another opportunity that we give
Mm-hmm.
all of our awardees because we tell them beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
you have 2 minutes, a 2 minute speech,
Mm-hmm.
thank you speech. Now you can
Mm-hmm.
either spend that 2 minutes
Mm-hmm.
saying thank you. I want to thank God. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my dad. I want to thank my MD. I want to thank my this. Or you can use that 2 minutes to
Mm-hmm.
elevate yourself and give the pitch of a lifetime. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
in our first year, there was one woman that came and her pitch, everyone in the room gave her a standing ovation when she finished.
Wow.
She was the only
Wow.
one that got a standing ovation when she finished. And then when
Mm-hmm.
she does our Solid Woman and she was picked to pitch, she was the winner of that pitch at that Solid Woman event because she
Again.
appeals to the people with what she does. She won't
Oh,
talk about
amazing.
all her achievements. She won't talk about she was awarded CNN Hero by Nicole Kidman and things like that. All things that people will be wowed at. No, she
Mm-hmm.
talks about the passion and why she does what she does.
Mm-hmm.
So when she talks about, I walk with this bag because this bag is my empowerment bag. I
Mm-hmm.
was raped when I was 6 and I was this, but now I've learned to empower myself. Everywhere you see me, I walk with an empowerment bag. By the time she's finished, everyone is giving her a standing ovation.
Oh, this is amazing. This is
So every
amazing.
opportunity, everywhere you go, there could be opportunities for you to pitch. You have to
Mm-hmm.
always be ready. You have to always be prepared. And I always tell people, you have to be ready, you have to be prepared because you might not get that opportunity again. And you just don't know
Mm-hmm.
who's going to be where you're going that's going to give you that platform to pitch yourself.
This is amazing.
Captivate them.
Amazing.
When the moment you open your mouth, make sure you captivate them.
The moment I open my mouth and make sure I captivate them, we have young people listening. And Linda Yemle says, that a good one. I mean, it was so inspiring what you just said. And I just kept wondering, oh, I hope that many young people are going to listen to you after this program and still going to listen. But before we continue on our conversation, I just want to welcome again all you listeners and viewers, those who are listening and watching from YouTube. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And you who is watching also from Facebook, I thank you. I appreciate you that you take your time out to come and listen to the Woman of the Week, the businesswoman of the week, Tola Onigbanjo. She is a networker, and it's an amazing conversation. Now, I'm so glad I hear they call you Wise Tola. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so passionate about the fact that you're going to be teaching us again during the August Masters program, and I am blessed because, in fact, what I have heard today, I always knew about it, but it's a confirmation that I have been on the right path, or that we are on the right path. Ma'am, I have heard time and again that your network is your net worth. What does that mean precisely, step by step, for a young person who is just confused and like, what is that? What does it mean? My network is my net worth. What does that mean?
Well, for me, I liken it to, because obviously I'm a Christian, so I liken it to the scriptures. When they say iron sharpens iron, when they say, show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. It's so true, so important. And people will look at who are in your network. It's not just a case of this person is over there, that person's over there, and I like that person, but you don't know them. It's who is in your network. People will look to see who is in your network, not just showing up and saying, oh, I went to an event and I saw so and so and I asked for a quick picture with. That's just a quick picture with the person. It's who is in your network, because your network will open you up to other networks, other opportunities, other people as well. And I always say it's so important, because your network is truly your net worth. Now, if I'm the type of person that all my friends are friends that every evening after work, we just go to the pub, we have a drink, we just talk, and then we go home, work the next day. Those are the only people that I can introduce you to when you come into my network, because those are the only people in my network. Now, if the people in my network are people that are into real estate, property development, land development, and things like that, and you're coming to meet me because you want to start getting into property and things like that, I can only introduce to those type of people because those are the type of people in my network. So you're going to stand to gain and learn a lot more because I'm around the type of people that you're actually looking to be somebody that you can learn off them. Now, with us, we find that with our sponsor, what some of them do is they recommend us to other sponsors, other people that are sponsoring, because those are the type of people that they hang around. Those are the type of people that they mingle with. Now, if you're trying to meet the CEO of, let's say, YouTube, you're not going to meet the CEO of YouTube by just sitting down at home and not doing anything. There'll be people that hang around that are like-minded. So when you're hanging around with those type of people, they can just say, Vera, come to this event, it's taking place. And then all of a sudden at that event, that's where the CEO of YouTube is, the CEO of Google, the CEO of Amazon. And, because those are the type of people that are hanging around those networks. So it's that your network has to be in the area of what it is that you're doing and your field, because they will now open you up to the people that you're trying to meet. And it makes it a lot easier because they can do those introductions. And the thing is, when they know you, nowadays, a lot of things are to do with referral. A lot of it is to do with referral.
Oh, the connection problem again. Thank you so much. Wise Tola was here, Wise Tola was here, and she has been talking about your network is your net worth. And I'm so glad. Thank you, Tola. You're coming back. Now
Can
you're here.
you hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
And nowadays, a lot of it is to do with referral. So if you have one person that's key in your network, they can refer you to all the other people that you need to meet. All the other people that you
Mhm,
need to meet. I always find a lot of people, when they come to me, they say, oh, I'm doing this. Can you recommend some people that are, and it's
mhm,
easy for me to recommend or suggest people because the reason why they've approached me is because they know that I will have access to those type of people that I can
exactly.
suggest to them. So those
Mhm,
are the kind of benefits that you can have by having the right people in your network. They can introduce you to the people that you've been trying to get to, but
mhm,
you haven't had the access because you don't know anyone that has the access to them. But then
mhm,
someone in your network now has the access and says, oh, I can do you an introduction email and introduce
mhm,
you both, and that's it.
mhm, mhm. Oh, thank you so much. This is a very, very important conversation. Um, I tell people I am very conscious and purposeful in my networking. And now this takes me to the next question. Uh, how should someone prepare to understand the principles behind networking and also become proactive in networking?
Well, before you go out and network, number one, always have in mind that the reason why you're going out to network is to meet people.
Mhm,
Now, when you meet people, what exactly is it that you're going to say to these people?
mhm,
If you don't have anything to say, why are you going networking in the first place? You have to know what it is that you're going to say and why you're going to the event in the first place. Now, if you want to
mhm,
meet like-minded people because you're going into an industry or a field that you know there are going to be a lot of people in that field, what are you going to go to them to say? Because if that
mhm,
person or that MD approaches you and says, "Hi, what is it that you do?" What
mhm,
are you going to say to that person? So I always
mhm,
say be fully prepared. Be fully prepared. Know what it is that you do. Understand what it is that you do totally and
mhm,
thoroughly, like nobody else can. There's some professions that some people get into. Like I used to know people that would open up hairdressing salons. They don't know
mhm,
how to do hair. They open the salons and then they get workers in that know how to do their hair. Now,
mhm,
if you're going to go to a networking event as a salon owner and you come and you meet me, I will say to you something like, "Oh, what do you do?" And they say, "Oh, I own so and so hair salon." And then I'd ask, "What is your speciality?"
mhm,
That person's speciality, because I want
mhm,
to know what they are good at. Being somebody that was a hairdresser for over 30 years, I only specialized in extensions. So I wasn't doing
mhm,
perms, coloring, tints, or anything like that. I specialized in extensions and I knew
mhm,
how to do everything that had to do with extension. So I would naturally ask that person, what is your speciality? Now, if they can't
mhm,
tell me anything, then
mhm,
I'd be thinking, okay, so you just
mhm,
own the thing, but you're not actually, so you're not really a hairdresser. You're just somebody that owns the business. Okay, you're a
mhm,
business owner. So that now is a business owner as opposed to a
mhm.
hairdresser. Whereas I
Yes.
was a hairdresser, but I was self-employed, so it was my own business, but I was doing it. And I always
Mhm,
say to people like that, at least know how to do what it is that the people in your thing do as well, so
mhm,
that you can always step in when you need to. So if you're going to an event and you're going to network, know what
mhm,
it is that you're going to talk about or what it is that you're going to say. So
mhm,
that approach now should be not that they own, I'm a business owner. Okay, what
mhm,
business do you own? I own a
mhm,
hairdressing business.
mhm.
Now I will look at that different because I won't ask you what's your speciality, because
Yes.
you're a business owner. So I know that you own the business. You haven't now told me, like, oh, I own this salon. And then I'm assuming you're a hairdresser because you own the salon and things like that. So
Mhm,
the approach would be different based on what you say. So I think it's
mhm,
important that you know what it is that you're going to say when you go to a networking event, so that when
mhm,
when you're asked questions, you're not caught off guard, but you know exactly what it is that you're talking about. I can say
mhm,
I own a chain of nurseries. That doesn't
mhm,
mean that I'm a qualified nursery teacher or anything. I own a chain of nurseries. Then
Yes.
I will now look at you as a successful business owner, because I
Yes.
know people that own chains of nurseries, but they have the
Mm-hmm.
staff and the supervisor employed to run those, because those are the ones qualified to run. So they're people
Yes.
that own businesses, they're people that are specific in those fields. So I think when you
Mm-hmm.
come across, you have to come across direct and also identifying what it is that you do, so that that
Mm-hmm.
person is clear. So it doesn't lead to a lot of asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
They understand and they're clear from the onset, because you've introduced who you are and what you do, very clear and very precise.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In our conversation, you said something and I wrote that down, and I would like to ask you a question on that. You say, if no one gives you a platform, create one. So we're talking about networking. Now let's assume there's no space for me. So how do I create one?
Sorry, say that again, that last bit.
If no one gives you a space, a platform, you create one. And so let's assume I'm looking for networkers and I just can't get access to the networks. So how do I create one?
Well, you'd have to be creative in that area. Now, depending on who you're looking for, you might have to now create the event for those people to take an interest in, so that you can now network those type of people. The event might have to be an online type of event. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there are different ways that you can network. Network is not always at an event. So I don't want us to only assume that that's the only way that you can network.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I've been in the entertainment industry for a number of years. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people that I know are in the entertainment industry. So now I'll give you an example. Now, when I promote or I'm sharing a lot of music from artists and things like that, I use
Mm-hmm.
my I use my Twitter a lot. So I can use the Twitter platform, I can use the Instagram, I can use the Facebook. So there was a time that I was using Twitter a lot. Twitter was
Mm-hmm.
the in thing. So I'd promote and I'd write things, do reviews about music, and I would tag the artist. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met the artist, but I like the music. I want to talk about the music. I want to introduce the music to my followers. And then I would write,
Mm-hmm.
oh, have you listened to such and such by, and I'll tag
Mm-hmm.
the artist. Or I might say, oh my God, this artist has just released, and I will tag the artist.
Yes.
So I remember when there was a press conference for a particular artist that I'd been tagging,
Mm-hmm.
that was going to do a concert in the UK.
Yes.
And so my friend said to me, oh, can I come and facilitate the press conference? And I said, okay, not a problem. Now, I always say to people, don't just assume because this person has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, they're not seeing what it is that you're doing. You just do what it
Mm-hmm.
is that you're doing.
Yes.
And so I used to just tag. So anyway, I went to the press conference and I went to obviously go and to facilitate. So my friend
Mm-hmm.
now introduced me and said, oh, here's the artist, so and so. Oh, this is Wise Tola. And the
Mm-hmm.
artist looked at me and said, oh, I know you. I know you from Twitter,
Oh
because
my
he'd seen my
word.
post. Now, the artist I'm talking about is Burna Boy. And
Wow.
so he said, oh, I know you. I know you from Twitter. He's seen my. So I was like, oh, okay. Can we get a picture? He's like, yeah, yeah, let's get a selfie. So anyway, we took the
Yes.
selfie. But my thing is, you can network on different platforms. You just don't
Yes.
know who's paying attention, who's seeing, who's taking note. So when an introduction or a meeting comes, that person can turn around and say, oh, Vera, I've been seeing your post. So I've been seeing your
Yes.
work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
Mm-hmm.
do it in a way that you're not doing it because you're being a nuisance. I always tell my
Yes.
people when I'm training them on Twitter and things like that, don't be a nuisance with it. Do it in a
Yes.
way that you're doing in a way that, you're doing it because they can actually see that you're interested in what you're doing, not because you're trying
Yes.
to, oh, I want to meet this person. Let me just keep bombarding them with stuff and, and just telling
Exactly.
them stuff and things like that. Because I used
Mm-hmm.
to do a lot of, I was on radio, so I was playing their music anyway. When I play their
Yes.
music, I at them. When I'm
Yeah.
talking about or reviewing anything, I at them. So I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just writing for the sake of
Yeah.
writing and atting them.
Sure.
It had It had purpose. It had meaning, what I was doing. So then they would
Mm-hmm.
take it. That's how they would now take note and see what it is that
Wow.
you're doing. Because
Mm.
who doesn't want to be, I mean, if you're an artist, who doesn't want to be promoted? So they
Yes,
take note of what's being done and who's doing it, and
that's true.
consistency as well. I wasn't doing it and
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, after 3 months, I've been atting this artist and their music for 3 months. They haven't even acknowledged me. I'm going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was
Mm-hmm.
atting them because I like their music. And if I like their music for 10 years, I will
Mm-hmm.
continue liking it for 10 years, whether I've met them, whether they respond or not, because that's what I like.
True.
So
True.
they know when you're doing it because that's what you're doing and you're passionate about it, and not because, oh, I want them to recognize me and then I can now say, oh yeah, so and so recognized me. It doesn't work that way.
Oh,
So use
I,
different platforms, Vera.
yes.
That's what I would
I,
say to that.
Thank you. Our time is always very fast. I mean, it's going like if, I mean, we just started this conversation, but it's already almost 8 p.m. German time. Now, ma'am, you have a few minutes to talk to people listening to you and those who are going to listen to you after this. Tell us your last view, or what would you say and what would you advise young people, business people, why they have to really purposefully network and how they can win the mind of the investor or slash sponsor. Your last counseling to us.
Networking can bring you right in front of your potential investor or sponsor. So that's why I say don't take it for granted. It can bring you right to their doorstep. You meet the very investor or sponsor that you've been looking for. Networking can do that. It doesn't
Mhm,
mean that because the MD himself or herself is not at that event, you're not going to get to meet them. You can
mhm,
meet their PA, you can meet their personal assistant at that
mhm,
event that will now
mhm,
put you in touch with the MD. You can
mhm,
meet somebody that has taken an interest to what you do, and the MD or whoever it is their personal friend.
mhm,
Referrals always make the difference. Referrals always make the difference. And if you get that person that can refer you, that people would rather go with a referral than having to shop around for themselves. So
mhm,
don't underestimate the power of networking. And when
mhm,
you come in front of any sponsor or investor, captivate them. You captivate them by being passionate about what it is that you're talking about, fully
mhm,
understanding, and
mhm,
just giving it the energy from start to finish. You will win them over. I can guarantee you. If you're passionate, if you captivate them and you keep that same energy,
mhm,
you will win them over in that they will listen to you,
mhm,
and then you've gained a platform and an audience from them, and then
mhm,
you can take it from there with them. You can push further, and don't always think that because an investor says no today, it doesn't mean they're not going to say yes later on down the future. You have to remember
mhm.
different people go through different things at different times.
Yes.
Sometimes they're at a good period where they have lots that they have to get rid of, and sometimes they're at a period where they don't have so much.
Mhm,
The fact that you've had an audience in front of them before should be able
mhm.
to give you an audience with them again. I gave
That's
the story of Harry Care. The first time
mhm,
we approached them, when we did it the first year, they didn't give us an audience. They didn't give
mhm,
us the platform. When we
mhm.
approached them again the second year or the third year, that's when they gave us the platform, and that's when they gave us more than we expected. So
I
don't
see.
be afraid to go back to that same investor or sponsor again. You just don't know what it is that happened that time that's now
Mhm.
happening, that's now making it even better the next time.
Wow. 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 You blow my mind. Now, my last question to you before it is 8 p.m. I asked this question to all our guests, and because you're a special guest to ask the question, we have the master's class coming up. And my question to you is: would you like to? Would you be willing, and would you? Let me put it in a nice other way. Would you gladly, willingly coach some of our young people from the African continent?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we've come again to the end of this conversation. Oh my God, it has gone so quick. And we have people watching from all over the world. And then Linda said, let me just show some fuel appreciation. The right network matters. Thanks, Ma, for this enlightenment. And we have Elvis saying you are an inspiration to the youth. Looking forward to have you again on the Business Talk, ma'am. You just blew up our minds. Thank you so very much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I'm so grateful that we were connected and that, yes, you spoke about referral. You were referred, and I was so excited to meet you, and I'm privileged that I finally did. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we've come to the end of our program. We're meeting again next week, same time, with another business, this time a businessman of the week. Stay tuned and God bless you. My name is Vera Sampon, and I have been your host today, and I'm hoping to meet you again next week. Take care of yourself. God bless you.